A group of restaurant workers and employees joined lawmakers and advocates today at the Illinois State Capitol to rally against a bill eliminating the sub-minimum wage for tipped workers, which they say will cost people jobs. The legislation would require tipped workers, such as servers and bartenders, be paid the full minimum wage regardless of what they make in tips. Right now, they're only required to make around $8.40 per hour compared to $14 minimum wage. Employers are required to make up the difference if their wage plus tips don't equal at least $14 per hour.
It will have a detrimental impact on the industry and the people this legislation aims to protect. This is a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Under the current law, every tipped employee must earn at least the state minimum wage.
The bill's supporters argue tips are too unpredictable for workers to rely on, and studies show employers don't always make up the difference.